Okay, second topic, straight off the bat. Bleach is coming back real soon. I'm talking maybe later this year, sometime in autumn or spring. And I've just watched the trailer, even though it's been out for months. And watching the trailer gave me a few ideas on what we could talk about, specifically turning to the endings of Bleach. I said endings plural because there's how did I put this? There's the ending to the big villain arc, which was Aizen. Aizen was the big villain of Bleach from, let's just say, the third arc onwards. From that point, he was the big main guy. And then there was an ending to like a little arc after that, and then the Bleach anime was finished. And I wanted to talk about that because although the anime had finished, the manga didn't. And it continued the story, went into great detail, had a good arc, and then it finished. So now we're finally getting that adaptation of the manga to the anime. So I want to talk about the other endings and why they're rubbish. Let's talk about the first one. This was the big ending, the big ending to this long storyline between Aizen basically wanting to become God. This was his goal, this is what we've been trying to do for all the previous chapters. He was basically the Madara of the anime, Madara of the manga, and the ending we got was subpar, I guess. It was a cop-out. They've written themselves into a corner. And needed a way to get out of it. And the way they handled it was Deus Ex. The Deus Ex Machina. If you don't know what that is, it's when the solution of a story is just brought in out of nowhere. For example, a famous one is there was a movie about a machine that could save the Earth from the end of the world. And they had to race against time to build this machine. The machine failed, but surprisingly, someone else had the exact same machine. Just hidden somewhere else. Just it came out of nowhere. There was no hints. There was no, oh yeah, this is how you do it. This is how you deal with it. And the day was saved. And if everyone felt cheated, everyone felt like they had wasted their time. And yeah, the same could be said for Bleach. Because at the ending of that, Aizen was too powerful to face. He was too powerful. And no one could step up to him. No one could, defeat him straight up. And what had happened was Ichigo went under this sort of training where he would be able to access a lot of power, but it would be the last time he could access this power. The very last time. And it worked, don't get me wrong, it worked. But at the end of it, it was too quick. Because he just powered up and he did the final Getsuga. And he beat the main bad guy so easily. They could have made it into like a good fight. They could have made it into, a good one-on-one. But we felt cheated. Because at the end of the day, sorry if I'm spacing out a bit too much. I'm just reading up just to get a proper good feel for it. But it was just rubbish. It was too easy. It was like, all this time you could do this. All this time you could... Not even that, it's the fact that it made the main guy look like a bitch. It really did. Because the main character just disappeared, came back, and he was OP. Very OP. There was no struggling. And then a side character came in and finished the job. Like, where was this side character before? Granted that this side character was one of the heads of the organization. And since then, when you just excited for something and then you actually watch it happen and then you just feel like shit. It's just, it weighs on you and just weighs on you and makes you feel rubbish. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Because the ending is just lackluster, little to no care, and shows that if you're not careful, what could happen if you don't write it properly. And when you don't write something properly, this is what happens. I'm just tired of the bullshit. No, I'm not. I don't know why I'm so negative. Anyway, and then you had the, what are they called? Sternritter, that's it. The Sternritter arcs. My God. The Sternritter arcs was just the worst. The Sternritter arcs felt like a filler. It felt like, we have this episodes list we need to fill, and we need to somehow keep it canon. Let's try do this, then do this, and it just did not work. Because what happens in this arc is they meet these people who have abilities who's never been seen before, never been heard from before, and they oh yeah, we can give you powers and we can help you. And yeah, they give him some type of power. But then they betray him. And then the Gote 13 has to get involved, and then they fight, and then Ichigo gets his powers back at the end of that arc. And it's fine. You wanted to write away where Ichigo would get his abilities back. But it was just so lackluster and boring, and it came out of nowhere. You know why it was that way? Because how you wrote the previous arc. You wrote the previous arc in such a way that you're still digging your way out in the next arc. And so the arc where he gets his abilities back is so rubbish. So rubbish. You have all these characters who some have interesting abilities, some don't. Some of them are just killed in one hit. You could tell it was just a way for Ichigo to get his powers back. And that the amount of care that went to the previous arcs wasn't in this one. I'm sad to say. It just wasn't there. Sometimes complaining just makes me tired. This is why we need the anime to come back. Because the next arc in the manga were tied up loose ends, gave us good moments and a good ending. Because they bring in so it's about what are they called again? My God, this is so bad of me. But go to basically the family of Uryu, who is one of the main characters of Bleach. And because the Shinigami has this, Quincy's, there we go. The Shinigami and Quincy's have been at war for ages. And right now, in the manga, which ended time ago, that they went to war with the Shinigami. And Uryu, who was an ally of Ichigo, went to join their side. And what makes this different from the previous arc is, Quincy's exist. We know that they exist because we've been following one for some time now, and we've been following the Shinigamis. You've mentioned the war with Quincy's. Even went back as to include some characters from previous arcs to help in the fight against the Quincy's. It's the culmination of the manga. It's the culmination. It's the summarization. It's everything jumped into one. And it feels good. It looked good. And there was a happy ending to it. And that's how endings should be. It shouldn't take you on this long journey only for this to be a lackluster solution. That's the difference between a bad and a good story. Yes, the journey is important, but if I'm going on this magical ride, I'm seeing everything, and then I end up at a trash heap, I'm gonna be vexed. I just took all that time just to get here? Ugh. You just wasted my time. And I'm sorry to say, but many animes and manga fall down this hole of writing themselves into a corner and then their endings being lackluster. I think Seven Deadly Sins, you could argue, did this. I think Fairy Tail, you could argue, did this. I think maybe even Naruto, you could argue, did this as well. And that's why we need a Bleach anime to come back, just to stop this trend of bad animes ending. Because we've had enough, basically. We've had enough. And the manga version, top tier. It's a good anime when it gets adapted. Hopefully.